Good afternoon. It is 3 o'clock on Thursday. I think we are live. It's spinning. Let's see. Uh, just a little pitch to let you know who I am in case you are coming on or come on and or you watch this later. We seem to be getting a lot of people watching them later on, which is very cool. Very happy to have that. So I am Lil Barkowski. You probably know that or you wouldn't be here. I'm the vice president of Longbar Creative Solutions. We are a full service business development company. What we do is we work with businesses, taking them from either a brand new startup and building their entire business platform, their messaging, their point of view, figuring out what they're doing, or we work with a company that's already in progress and wants to go to the next level. They want to maybe rebrand themselves, rethink about what they're doing, or just make more business, get more business. So that's kind of our job. We have a full service department that does about everything from web design to graphic design, logos, anything you want to print. We're having a lot of specials on printing lately because of COVID. I don't know if you guys know this, but printers are kind of stuck right now. The printing business, as you can imagine, with restaurants and things like and events, all the events that didn't happen that people would typically print things for, tickets and brochures and workbooks. Most of that's not getting done anymore because of COVID. So a lot of our printers are struggling, and they have to keep the machines running, or shutting them off is kind of worse than not running them. So we are doing a lot of print specials. So now's a great time if you need business cards or brochures, come and talk to us. We have tremendous prices on all that stuff. So that's something we do a lot of. And then, of course, we do websites and we do a lot of video work. We do a lot of editing. We actually sponsor a terrific podcast called Let Your Shit Out. If you're offended by that, sorry. But it's run by my friend Jonathan Thornsberry and my business partner, Cindy Long. So it's Let Your Shit Out with John and Sin. And they have a Facebook page, Let Your Shit Out, as well. So that's a great thing to join and get involved in. Today's topic, we're really actually talking today about the prize being in the process. And that's what I'm going to talk about today because we are, like I said, we're a company that deals with businesses. And there's times, I started out, I should tell a little story. So I was a chef a very long time, owned restaurants, a restaurateur, and that was what I did. And my other half wanted to run a business, really more web development than anything else. And so I think a lot of you have clients or you're trying to get clients, and we all want clients. We all want business. We want to make money. That's what we do. I hope to God you want to make money. If you don't, call me later. We'll talk about your problems because the idea of being in business is to make money, and not to hoard money, but to make it so that you can spend it and help other people and do all the good things you can do with money. Money's a river. Comes in, comes out, that kind of thing. But when we were primarily a web development company, so the idea was to get and we thought the idea in those days was to just get a client. You get a client, build their website. At most, you might maintain the website or do some other work for them, but primarily it was just knock out a website, go to the next one. Knock out a website, go to the next one. Build a project, work on a big project. Sometimes we worked on projects that were months and months of working on some big piece of software. But when that was over, it was over, and that was it. And in those regards, that's kind of a short range goal. That's sort of a let's get that client, let's accommodate that client, and then move on. We built no real long term relationship with a lot of our clients because of that. And that is not a sustainable model for business. Having only long term clients is not necessarily a sustainable thing. I mean, if you have clients that you're waiting and waiting and waiting and waiting and waiting to get something to happen with them, and you're nurturing them and you're offering information and then nothing ever comes of it. Okay, well, there's going to be those clients. Sometimes we are those clients. We have groups that we belong to, and we're not looking to be members of that thing, but we want to learn and glean information. That's great. You can have talks like this one where you do lives and you give out information, and you may never get a client. Somebody may listen to you every day and never become a client. That's fine. But you want to have a little bit of both. You want to have a mixture of clients that come to you and you do a thing for them, and maybe you have a short term with them, but you have got to build relationships, and you've got to build relationships on the for the long haul. So the prize being in the process is the process. If you are trying to get a client, if you sell a specific thing, if let's say you sell a service, maybe you make logos for a living, you're a graphic designer. It's great that you can knock out a quick logo, make a quick client, get a sale, you know. But if your client sees that that's all you're trying to do with them, then you are going to look a little bit like you're just desperate. You know, I just got to get this client and then I'm going to knock it out and go to the next client and knock it out, go to the You got to build a relationship with them because anyone who needs a logo needs a lot more than that. And so let's take that as an example. If you're a graphic artist, somebody needs a logo. What are they putting it on? They're going to put it in thin air. They're going to put it on a shirt. They've got to put that logo on a hat. They've got to put it on koozies that they're going to give away at Christmas time or whatever it's going to. They got to have flyers. They're going to have promotional material. They're going to want something for their website. They're going to want graphics of every nature. So if you're going to be their graphic designer, be their graphic designer. Don't do the logo for free and then walk and hope that they never going to use you, but that you might give them some advice or that you might suggest some other things. One of the interesting things that we do a lot of, as you guys know, is we write books. I write a lot of books for clients. And the one hole I'm finding in book writing and book publishing, we also publish, is the marketing of those books. And people, I used to work with a guy who was a real nice guy, but he wanted to do that sort of thing, but he really had no marketing plan. So he was very short range goal guy, kind of guy. Knock a book out 10, 12 weeks, get to the next, felt very desperate all the time. Like, oh no, I need this job. What am I going to do? I have to have it. And I think what happened with that a lot of times is that that desperation came through that because that was all the money where there was going to be. That was all. There was no relationship. You build a relationship when you write a book for somebody, no doubt. But that relationship began with the sales pitch that was always the same. This is what we're going to do. Began with the same process of how all the outlines came out pretty much the same. All the introductions had the same concept. It was a formula, and it was a good one. And we use some of that formula. We all do. It's the same formula every single ghostwriter uses. It's not novel or unique to that company or even mine. But once that book was done, if and a lot of times it never got finished, people would be like, "Oh yeah, I'm going to get to it." They wouldn't finish. But when they finally did, and the final payment was made, there was no relationship left. There was no real relationship. The only relationship we could hope for was A, they might make another book, which a lot of people do, or B, they would refer us, which often happened. So they would give us yet another, and there would be yet another short-term thing that we would do. But there was no long-term relationship with those clients where we were then going to take that book and make money for them or help them figure out how to make money with that book or how to promote, market, what kind of public relations can we do? What kind of strategy can we build so that we are not just building you but why would you just write a book? A book is a business. It's a business in a box. It's one whole thing, right? So not building that relationship, not getting to the place where that book is so successful that they want to write the next book and write the next book. And we had several clients that had the idea in their head that they were going to write 2, 3, 4 books in a series. They never marketed the first one. We never built a good relationship to get that first book off the ground. And if that first book had gotten off the ground well, then the second book would come, then the third book. Occasionally that happened, but very, very rarely. And it didn't happen on our watch because it didn't happen because we were teaching them how to market themselves, how to build a business around that book. If you're going to write a book, then that book should be the launching pad for that business, for you to go speak on that subject, for you to write blogs and articles about that subject, because you can pull them from the book, to have a website that you can market on a regular basis and blog onto and have social media engagement, that you can create a workshop, a seminar, a course, especially if it's a business book. If you're writing a memoir, okay, you might make a course out of that, not likely. But you certainly want to speak. You want to meet people who have had similar experiences. We have a lot of women who write memoirs about one thing or another. They might be in a situation where it's a divorce and they're writing a divorce book maybe to help other people, like my friend Leslie is doing. But it's also partially a memoir because her book is to help people decide, should I get a divorce? If I should get a divorce, what are the steps? Once I know, yep, I can't stick with this guy anymore, this girl anymore, this woman, I can't do it. Then what are the next steps? What do I got to do? But in the middle of it, she's interweaving her own story, why she wound up in a bad divorce, As I think I've told you before, her first chapter is Mommy, why is Daddy taking a shower with the babysitter? I can't say it without laughing. Sorry. Well, now in hindsight, it's funny. In the moment, it probably wasn't funny to have her 5-year-old say, Mommy, why is Daddy taking a shower with the babysitter? I mean, that's not really funny. But she's telling that story, and that gives it a little bit of humor and a little bit of relief for people. So now we can build around that. So once that book is up, that becomes a course. That becomes her launching pad for speaking. It becomes her way to blog. We're not just going to write this book with her and help her finish this book. We're going to go out. She's been interviewing some of our other clients about their divorce situations and how that went. And so we're in a situation where, we're going to build her an entire universe around this book. And that's true of any business. It's true of any thing you might think you want to do in terms of, whether you're a coach. If you're a coach, you're going to start a business, then you have to find even with your clients that some of them are going to be short range goals. Somebody wants to lose 50 pounds or 30 pounds. You're a weight loss coach. You get them past that, you may never see them again. But that doesn't mean that that's the right way to go with that. That may mean you have to work with them on a long range goal. You may have to find that prizes in that process of working with them and then keeping the weight off. Or maybe they're smokers and they go back to smoking. You want to keep them in that. Or what's the root problem of all that makes them smoke or makes them have other issues or whatever it might be. So you have to look at when you're working with clients or when you're working with, in life, that there are things that you want to do that are short range goals. My mom taught me that actually. We were in a band years ago and we were trying to think about how we were all going to be famous and rich. And she said, why don't you just work about how are you guys going to get along for the next 4 weeks? What's the next week? How many songs are you going to learn? What's the next gig you want to do? And we slowly but surely worked our way toward doing pretty well. We never became really famous, but that's okay. It wasn't meant to be. But whatever your goals are, you have to enjoy the steps that you're taking along the way. So in your goal, let's say you want to build a business. I know some of our guys that listen to us a lot are coaches themselves, and they want to build that business. And if you're not enjoying the steps you're taking, which some of them are going to be steps you stumble over, you're going to fall. Say, okay, you know what? I'm going to create this program, and then nobody signs up. And all right, okay, maybe that was the wrong program, or maybe you have to try again, or you have to try a different angle, and you have to enjoy all those angles. You have to say, well, that sucked. It didn't work, but I love it. I tried. It was the best I could do. And then you do the next thing. If you get frustrated with the process and you get frustrated with just what my next if you're not enjoying the day to day of the process of what you're doing, then you have to either shift gears and find a way to enjoy that process, or think about maybe you're in the wrong business or you're aiming at the wrong clients. But there's always those steps that you take. And in life it's the same way. Every day we have all these things we're doing and we want to do, and sometimes we're just frustrated. The day is frustrating. We wake up and things aren't the way we want them to be. You have to shake that off. You got to shake off the bad days. You got to shake off the bad clients. You got to shake off the clients that stick with you. I'm going to do it. I'm going to do it. I'm going to do it. And they never do. And we have clients who are ready to get going on something, and then they drop off and we don't see them for months. Then we have clients who are steady as she goes, and they're going to keep going and work on the process, and you can see their business growing and growing and growing and growing and growing and growing and growing. A business is not just one thing. Life is not just one thing. No day is one day. One day is part of a whole life you're about to live. So, the prize is in the process. And as you go along, every day, set your short range goals. Today, I'm going to accomplish at least these 2 things. Or maybe make a list of 5 things. And if you get 3 of them done, then the 2 you didn't get done, if they're important, put them on the next day's list, at the top of the list. And don't be mad if you get none of them done. You had a bad day. Tomorrow's another day. If you have a bad client, let them go. Move on to the next client. If you have a client who needs a little bit of nurturing, who it's going to be more than just, I'm going to build them a website, I'm going to make them a logo, or I'm going to help them lose 10 pounds. figure out what their long-term goals are. We have clients that we work with that we're part of their team. That when they make a dollar, we make a dollar. Some people pay us money, cash. Other people pay us some money for our services, and then we are actually part of their business. We will when they make X dollars, we make X dollars. Long range, long term. I always call that. My Kate will tell you. I call that long term thinking, long range thinking. And there are several clients that we work with that we do a long range kind of thinking. So that's pretty much all I have to say today. We are working on several books. I would love for you to go and look at Accelerate Playbook, which accelerateplaybook.com. That is a book that we have coming out, or is actually out now, and on the website you can um, find the links to buy it. And very shortly we'll be putting up a PDF of the workbook itself. So it's for tweens and teens, particularly. The age group would be 12 to about 16, either going into high school, in high school, first couple of years, thinking about their careers, thinking about their futures. And it starts out, usually most chapters start with a little bit of a story, kind of a concept that we're working on in each chapter that we're talking about. There's 12 chapters and some extra stuff. And then at the end, there's an exercise or there's questions or there's things for them to do interactively. So parents, you really want to purchase the book and work with them. If you buy a Kindle version, which is very inexpensive, we will have a PDF of the workbook that you can download. That you can either do a fillable PDF online, I believe, or for certain you can print it out and then you'll have something physical to write the questions and answers and the sketches and things we ask them to do. Sometimes make a diagram of this or that. It's a fantastic book, and I'm very very proud of it. I wrote that in conjunction with a wonderful guy named Ziz Abdurauf. Ziz was an NFL football player. He is a life and a youth coach. He does yoga instruction. He's just a multitude of wonderful things. So if you have a chance to check that book out, that's coming out. And I hope that very shortly, probably by the very first week or so of November, or the second week at the latest, I have a book coming out that I worked on with a woman named Sharon Simpson, and that is called Warm Bodies, Morgan City 78. And it is a fictional story based on a true set of events that happened in 1978 in Morgan City, Louisiana, when Sharon was in high school. And while she was in high school, a serial killer went to work in the area on the in terms of the oil fields. They were drilling for oil and they were building oil rigs offshore. And this guy, no one had vetted him. They just needed warm bodies to show up and work. And he was a serial killer. And he actually raped and murdered 5 girls. And I believe he also murdered one of their boyfriends. So we completely fictionalized the story, made the whole damn thing up. But it's a great story, and we are also pitching it for film. So that'll be coming out shortly too. Lots of fun stuff. Working on all kinds of great books. Longbar Creative Solutions is working on a lot of great clients this month. We have terrific stuff we're doing. If you ever need our services, we're at longbarcreatives.com. Easy peasy to find us, and you can always write me or message me here. So I thank you for your time. We're at my usual 20 minutes or so, and Kate's always going to have these ready later to watch later on. If you don't see it in while we're here, by all means, watch us. When you watch it later on, feel free to ask me questions, email, text me, smoke signals. You know the routine. All right. Have a great weekend. I'm going to go to one of those corn mazes. I'm a city kid. I am absolutely a New York type city. Grew up. I could see Manhattan. So I don't know. I'm a little scared. If I get stuck in there, I'm hoping someone with a golf cart comes and finds us. But we'll be in a corn maze. If no one hears from me next week, I'm somewhere in a corn maze near Mount Dora, Florida, lost and probably weeping and hungry, and because I'm kind of fat and I like to eat. So please come find me in the corn maze. And soon will be Halloween, and very soon is. Oh, wait, I should say, please don't be mad at me if you don't agree with me, but vote, vote. Tonight's the debate. I have my popcorn and my drinks ready, my alcohol ready. And next Wednesday, I will be sleeping. Do not wake me. I'm not gonna wake. Don't wake me. But anyway, go vote. Whichever way you're gonna vote, use your voice. Use the power of the vote. Get out there and vote. This is an insanely important election. Okay. Proud of y'all. Talk to you soon. Happy Thursday.